Hold on.
There you go.
We are live and ready to go.
All right. Hello and welcome to Fantasy Grounds College. We have a special webinar with our hostess, the Susie Q. And I would also like to thank all of you for attending and watching and contributing and all those good things. We've had a lot of growth lately, and hopefully these types of seminars and webinars will appeal to you guys. I am going to defer to the Susie Q as I want her to present her students or her friends or her staff or whatever she would like to do for this seminar. Thank you again, and please follow up with the chat or the video stream afterwards, and we can help you answer questions or direct traffic or whatever you need. Thanks, Susie.
Yep. Well, good afternoon, my lovelies. Oh my goodness, this is such an exciting day. First of all, hi all. I am the one, the only, the often duplicated and never imitated, the Susie Q. For my ladies in gaming this afternoon, I also have with me Furied Fate, Karish, and Zelikar. So we're really excited to have them. We're going to be answering your questions, and we're kind of going to go like what got us into gaming, where we took our inspiration from, and stuff like that. We also have GeoQuester and Zelikar modding for us this afternoon, so thanks you two. And let's go ahead and have you ladies introduce yourselves. We'll start with Furied.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. My name is Furied Fate. I live in Texas. I'm in the 30s. Yeah, sure. And it's nice and cold outside, so I'm all snuggled up in my PJs and sweater and interested to tell you guys about my gaming experience.
Sweet. Let's move on to Karish.
Hello, I am Karish. I am from Iowa, though by way of Illinois and Texas. I am currently 30, and I have one kiddo and then another one on the way. And yeah, excited to be here today.
And then my ever awesome, my co-maiden in cohort, in co-crime, Zelikar.
Good morning. This is Zelikar. I'm out of Colorado, and I'm in my 40s.
Did you lose Giselle? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. I'm Zelikar. I'm out of Colorado. I'm a little older than some of the other ladies here. I'm in my 40s. And yeah, I miss hanging out in Maidens with you too, Susie.
Those were the days. All right, so one of the first questions that was posed to us was, how did you get your start in gaming? So let's go right back to you, Zell. You've been doing this probably longer than any of us.
Actually, you might be surprised. I think my cousins tried to get me into it when I was young, but I was definitely not into it as a young teenager. I did try it probably 10 years back or so as a way to kind of connect and hang out with my kids because they enjoyed it very much.
Okay.
So no, not as long as you would think. But I really did get into it because my kids were into it.
Okay, how about you, Fury? How did you get into it?
Well, I grew up with two brothers. So, and surrounded with guys all the time. So, they wanted to get the cool video games, and that's where I started, video games, with like my Nintendo and then Super Nintendo, and just hanging out with my brothers and kind of being a little bit of a tomboy growing up. So when they got to the age where hanging out with your sister wasn't cool, I couldn't play with their video game system. So I had to get my own video game system. And then from there, I started to get into RPGs. And then when I realized all RPGs are based on, kind of the fundamental tabletop rules of D&D, I'm like, I want to see what D&D is all about. And so it wasn't until my sophomore year in high school where I had a boyfriend who who did play D&D. He's like, oh, yeah, I've done that before. I'm like, oh, I want to do it. Can I do it with you? And, just got all excited, and we had a horrible first experience with it, and I stopped playing, or even stopped trying to play it for many years later. It was so horrible. Okay, so we got our group together. We took all the fun time to build our characters. This is like 3.5. And I was like, I want to be a druid and have a fun animal companion. And everyone's laughing. It's like, oh, it's a druid, whatever. But, and of course I was a standoffish druid because I'm from the forest, and I didn't trust these people that I just randomly met at a tavern. And so they were being, hey, let's go do this thing. And I was like, but I don't want to. I don't even know you. Why should I help you? So they were getting aggressive with me, trying to pull me along. My animal familiar took that aggression and attacked them. So they attacked my animal familiar, which made me want to attack them. And so basically we all died within the first 30 minutes of the game actually starting.
Hey, that works sometimes. That's just the way it happens. Now, how about you, Karish?
Well, I grew up, my dad is a pastor, but with that, we grew up reading, the Chronicles of Narnia and watching the old, The Hobbit cartoon and the old Lord of the Rings cartoons. So I was very steeped in fantasy and sci-fi from a very young age. And then as I got older, I had some friends that introduced me to role playing, but we didn't do a system. We just kind of did a play-by-post type thing. We would write in a notebook what our character did and then pass it off to the next person, and so on and so forth. And that led me to getting into online play-by-posts RPGs. And I got introduced to D&D at an event somewhere, but my parents weren't really that big into me doing it, so that was restrictive. And it wasn't until I was in college and with my ex-fiance, and he was really big into D&D, and that's how I got started with 3.0. And then when I dropped out of college, I lost all touch with people, and so eventually I had to find new groups where I started off with the old Wizards of the Coast D20 system of Star Wars. And then we evolved into the Fantasy Flights system, and then I found, hey, you can play D&D online. So that's how it's evolved for me.
Awesome. See, now I got started almost 21 years ago through Geo, and that's actually how we met. I needed a place to escape. I called one of my friends who was friends with him. I was like, dude, I got to get out of here. And he came and picked me up, took me to Geo's apartment, and the rest is just history. They started me off with 2nd edition. I took the book home, read the entire PHB from front to back within a week. And when I came back the next week, rolled up my first character, and away I went. And I've been playing everything from GURPS, D&D, Rifts, MERPs. Tried Car Wars once, but, and World of Darkness. So you name it, I've probably done it. All right. One of our next questions is, where do you get your inspiration from? When you're rolling up a character, what kind of strong female characters or tunes from your past are you looking at when you base this character? Let's start with Karish.
I don't know. Like, I guess it's just kind of pulled from just like all the fantasy books I read, like, or movies, like Willow. There's Sorsha in that, but I don't think I take direct influences from specific characters. What I tend to do is I'm very focused on the character of my character. So when I'm looking at classes, I'm like, oh hey, maybe I want to play a monk this time. And especially in 5th edition with all the background and stuff they added, that's made it really easy for me to be like, oh, well, she's a monk and maybe she's a hermit because of this, which has affected her because of this. So then I get really deeply into why did she choose this path? Why is she using this specific thing? Like, I just rolled up a monk for the Delver Society, and, I do have an option of using a short sword, but I'm like, no, she's going to use the quarterstaff because she's going to be more monkish that way in my head. And also Donatello was my favorite Ninja Turtle, and so she's going to be Donatello in that way. So my inspiration,
that's cool.
Yeah, it just, to me, I focus more on the character and why are they like this, as opposed to, I am definitely not a min-maxer at all. I don't focus on how can I make my stats the best they can be, which is fine if you want to do that. I just focus on the character for me personally.
Okay, what about you, Zal?
Yeah, I think when I make characters, I don't directly look for somebody to imitate. Though I have to admit, the women,
Did
a
we lose
few
her?
women.
I think we might have lost her again. We'll move on to Fury.
My logic is kind of the same as Karish. I mean, I think about, okay, what type of class do I want to go to? And then I start thinking about their motivations, compared to their backgrounds and histories and basically the cultures of that class. And then, of course, you have to factor in the racial stuff behind it. How do races interact with each other, conflicts between them, prejudices, things like that. But also, I mean, some of the personality traits I pick up because I watch a lot of TV bopper TV shows. So I'll watch them and like, dude, this girl was such a horrible person, and I want to make a character that's just as a pain in the ass as her or him, and just kind of pull on different things like that.
See, I kind of picked like kind of the heroes from my childhood, like Chitara and Red Sonja, who is a horrible character, by the way. But just people like that, and kind of try to base things off of that.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Oh, good.
Where do you get your inspiration from, Zell? Do you pick it from, She-Ra and the Baroness, or do you just kind of roll with it?
Well, I'm much more of a roll with it person, though I have to admit I'm strongly influenced by The Lord of the Rings, and the women there, though few, are really badass, though flawed, and I really like that.
That is cool. Okay, we do have some questions. What are the group's thoughts about all-female groups? Are they needed? You guys can just pipe up and answer as you wish.
To an extent, yeah, I think they are needed, just because there are so many people who feel, or at least so many women that feel intimidated to join into a mixed group, or if they're the only girl in the group. And having, all-female group, it's a little bit more, I guess, less intimidating for another girl to join in.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think, I'm very comfortable playing in sets with the boys, but if it empowers more girls to join the game, to have a girls-only game, I am all in favor of that too.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. If that's where you have to start in an all-female game, by all means.
And just because you start in an all-female game, you don't have to stay in an all-female game. It's that whole, boost your self-confidence, boost your familiarity with the game, and then that way you can kind of transition to play with the boys and be like, hey, I'm just as good at being this character as you are. Maybe even a little bit better.
Exactly. You don't have to. There's nothing saying that you have to stay in an all-female game. Branch out. Have fun. Okay, now, what genres have you played, or what are your favorite games other than D&D?
I have done mostly just fantasy and D&D, and then the Star Wars games. And I actually really enjoy the Fantasy Flights take on the Star Wars RPG because they don't use the regular D20 system. They have their own special dice that have symbols on them, and certain good dice cancel out the bad dice. And so for me, who absolutely sucks at math and hates math, like, it's great because I just have to count up them and be like, okay, well, I have 3 successes and like 2 threats, which means you succeed, but something bad still happens. So it's very story driven, which I really like.
Yeah, that's what I like about the World of Darkness system. It's simple. All I have to do is be like, okay, I rolled above that number on that one, that one, that one, and that one. I'm good. I got 4 successes.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm pretty locked into Dungeons and Dragons in the fantasy system. But I did have a lot of fun playing the sci-fi when we were Iron Maidens as well.
Yeah, definitely. That was just oh man. Okay, do you ignore guys who play female characters? I don't. It doesn't matter to me. Your character is your character.
I do have a guy in a group that I play with. He's usually always a female character. He prefers it that way. He just says he has more fun. And at first I was like, okay, I guess that's what you're into. But I mean, after a while, it's like, okay, sure, you're going to pick a female. That's fine. But it does throw me off for a loop every now and then when he does some social interactions. So it's always interesting to see how they handle social interactions.
Yeah, the person who plays, I think it's Jacqueline in the Legacy games, kind of every time he speaks, he kind of throws me off a little bit. I'm expecting a very feminine voice, and no.
Yeah, and I also think if guys want to play girls, girls want to play guys, fair, whatever you want to do, but play your character. Don't be a stereotype of that character. Be the character.
Unless your character is
Definitely.
a stereotype, then you can be the stereotype.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, there was a comment to go along with that. It was like, what if they're playing a slutty hobknocker or something like that?
Yeah, one of my characters is a sorceress, but she has profession in courtesan. And of course, as soon as I say that, like, the guys are like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "No, you don't understand. Courtesans are mostly like a social escort or a social companion, very good at talking with people, social interactions with the higher classes, and yes, sometimes she does get expensive gifts."
Okay, now, what about, have any of you ever GM'd games?
Yes, I have run a few.
Okay.
Regularly.
I knew you did, Sal. But how about any advice for female GMs running for male players?
Don't be afraid to kill the players off. Or, don't apologize when your roles are better than the players' roles and that the players do make stupid decisions that get them into trouble. Be like, I'm sorry, guys, that's just the way the campaign is playing out. Y'all just kind of, got yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I think also just be confident. I mean, that's it. Like, you may not know 100% of the rules, or you may, but, just your decision's law. So if you're like, no, this is how it goes, you just be confident that they will listen to you because you're the DM. And if they don't, then maybe they need to find a different DM.
Yeah, exactly. I apply that same sort of rule. I call it the mom rule. Because I said so exists.
Exactly. This is my table. It's not your table. This is my table. I have my own rules for my table. That's why it's a DMG and not a DMR. That's just my thought. Do any of you have any content out there? Art, music, books, poetry, etc.? Wow. I have poetry out there, and I have a couple of books, and yeah.
You're in video all the time, Susie, on Legends and Lore, right?
Oh yeah. Let's not forget, I also like a lot of Geo's books. If they have his name on it, I've edited those books. I have editing credits for those.
I don't have anything that's out on the web. I've done some photography shows locally and also some paintings. But other than that, nothing really out there for the masses to see unless I post it on my Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or something.
Yeah, I have an old DeviantArt account that has like some old like world building stuff and poetry and stuff I did a long time ago. But I do have a small crafting business that I have a Facebook for and all that. I sell like cross-stitched magnets and cross-stitched on canvas type stuff that I do local art marts and comic cons and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, do any of you collaborate?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
I think we need to have more of a like go further into what do they mean by collaborate. Okay, they want to know, do we work together? Do we create stuff together? We play together. Does that count?
It should.
I don't think we've really ever gotten together to really collaborate on anything. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
but we're open to the idea of getting together and making some master plan, taking over the world or something. I don't know.
Oh, ladies, we could totally take over a West Marches.
Make our own little kingdom.
In a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. See, we'll start with West Marches, but eventually it's going to be the world. Okay, I just got word that Laren wants to make a module or a Fantasy Grounds project with one of us. Possibly all of us.
Oh, I'm in.
I'm thinking the same thing. I like this idea.
I know. Anytime there's an opportunity for me to game, I'll game. I'm in 5 different games right now and probably join more and fill up my entire week so I can't get into trouble.
Oh, jeez. You know, you might want to talk to Rob too about that, because I think he does something like that where he just, it's one game after another. Okay. Do you prefer hack and slash or problem-solving adventures?
Honestly, that depends on my mood. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, yeah, I just want to murder stuff. But if it's been a pretty chill day, my brain's been resting, I don't mind doing some problem solving and thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I like that kind of challenge of problem solving as well. But she's right. When it's been a bad day, I'd just like to get out there and kill me some orcs or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it also depends on what character I'm playing, because I play as like a healer in one of my games, and like she doesn't have a lot of offensive abilities at all. So most of the fights are me just standing back like, no, I'm not gonna hit him. No, I'm good back here. which isn't as fun for me. So she's more of the problem solver. But then I have other characters that are more hack and slash, which are more fun to play in combat. So for me, it's, totally dependent on the day and which character I'm playing.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because Leah, being a barbarian, she's not about the whole problem-solving thing. But Blinks, who's kind of in the rear with the gear, she's more, you know what, chill out. Let's think this through.
Speaking about barbarians, with the new background system on 5e, I think one of my things was solving problems with violence. So, anytime there's a problem, just, great axe to the face, problem solved. I don't see the issue anymore.
Oh, that is so awesome. I love that. I do, however, want to give a big shout out to Zovia Maps. She's actually kind of in our chat right now. She does a lot of the maps that we see, and she is honestly one of my favorite map makers or cartographers, whatever she prefers to be called.
Yeah, I'm in love with her work too. She does amazing stuff.
I know, right? It's just, I'm like floored. Just floored.
What you got, Susie?
When guys are comfortable enough around you to start using like explicit language, does that make you feel uncomfortable at all?
I think for me, with my background, like, it makes me a little uncomfortable, but like, I'm not going to be like, okay guys, you need to stop right now. I just kind of sit there and be quiet until it passes, and then, but I grew up in a very, very conservative household, so that's just kind of imprinted on me, I think.
Okay.
I probably started the cursing, so I'm hardly ever offended by it.
Yeah, that's same here. My mom's a sailor. My dad's a sailor. I curse like a sailor.
I grew up around all these guys, and I work with a whole bunch of guys. I work at an auto shop, so I'm around mechanics, and they're always saying random dirty things. Half the times they're like, hey, Fury, take a look at this picture. And I'm like, I didn't need to see that, but that's cool. So after a while, I get desensitized to everything. So when guys say things in character and game, or even when someone just kind of joins and randomly says something and then they look at me like, oh God, did I offend the girl? And I'm like, whatever. Or then I'll say something even equally offensive or as disturbing.
I think personally, I'm a lot more offended when they start treating me like they're damsel in distress than I am by their cussing.
Yeah, when suddenly I've got, other characters jumping in front of my character or, taking kill shots from me, that kind of, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely that. Or if they're trying to explain something to you, it's like, no, dude, I got this. I understand.
Oh, mansplaining?
Or if they try to change my character's decisions, like, no, I don't want to check the door. I just want to open it. Exactly.
I don't care. No. Look, I don't give a shit if there's a trap on it. I just want to open the door.
Right? Sometimes I don't care if I die. I just want to progress because I'm getting impatient with you boys talking about all your shit.
Oh, and we have a Zovia. Hello, dearie.
Greetings.
Oh, I love the avatar. That is awesome.
Oh yeah, big hit girl fan.
Oh, way cool. So, what do you think about women in gaming?
I think they should keep doing it.
Rock on, Zovia.
What do you mean more specific?
No. That's fine. I agree. I think we should keep doing it. Now, how long have you been an artist for?
Maybe about 3-4 years.
Okay, now we're going to touch on a touchy subject now. Now, being a female artist and especially a more male-driven profession, do you find that you run into a little bit of discrimination because you're a female doing maps instead of male doing maps?
Not that I've found so far, but mainly I do my own thing, so I don't have to sign up with any body or do anything like that. I just sell maps on Patreon, basically.
Like I said, and you are one of the most successful cartographers I've seen out there. So I have to give a huge props.
Oh, well, thank you. There's some much bigger guys out there that I hope to be, like, and I'm working on it, but there's some guys doing a lot more than I am.
I know Rob Toohey uses your maps a lot, and I know from working and being married to Geo that the two of them they prefer your maps over some others.
Oh, sweet. That's always good to hear.
Yep. All right. Well, now more touchy subjects. We're just going to touch on this for a couple of minutes because I think it's something that we need to touch on. Have any of you encountered sexual harassment during gaming? Or any kind of harassment whatsoever?
Mine hasn't been like sexual harassment or anything. I have been, I guess, discriminated against because I was female, but nothing, I mean, it wasn't as big as sexual harassment.
Like, I know
Go
ahead.
Say, not like in my tabletop groups or anything. I haven't had any problems with the guys there. Every time that I'm in a tabletop group, the guys have been always super sweet, really nice, and really friendly. Not overly so, but, enough to where it's like, okay, not going to make this really awkward or uncomfortable. When I was doing online gaming with consoles, FPSs and stuff, the majority of the time I would keep my mic off and I wouldn't talk to anybody unless it was like a private chat with a friend. But like if I was in a group with random people, I wouldn't talk to them because it's, especially on shooting games, as soon as you talk and they hear you're a girl, so many comments come flying at you, and then so many random friend requests and random messages, and it's like, I don't like it. I got really turned off by it all.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, you're either a 12-year-old boy, like they assume you're a little kid, or then they find out you're female and then open the floodgates.
Well, sometimes I just pretend to be the boy.
That's awesome.
Sometimes it's just easier that way.
But this is online gaming. As far as tabletop, I've not ever had any problems. I've always played with friends. Anytime that I am with the new guys, you usually get the opposite effect, that they kind of walk on eggshells most of the time. So usually I'll just say something very vulgar, and that breaks the ice, and everyone can be themselves.
Yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's an advantage to tabletop gaming. Even when you're playing online, you form a bond with those people because you're out for the same goal and the same quest. And even if you weren't friends on day one, you are by the time you're playing your second game or so. And they treat you like friends with respect for your personality and your person.
Exactly. I think the only place I've really run into anything like that was at conventions, and it's only with some of we call them grognards, but like they're the players who have been around since basic D&D, and when it came out in like the 70s, and those are the only people I really get any issue from. All right, have any of us been stalked?
Yes.
Not that
Okay.
I know of.
Yeah, not that I know of, but no, seriously, this is a huge issue, especially and it's not just an issue for females. This is an issue for some of our more famous male counterparts as well, like Matt Mercer, Will Wheaton. I know they've had issues with stalkers in the past.
I've had stalkers, but they weren't related to tabletop games, and one of them, it was an thing gone wrong. So, I mean, most of my stalker things have nothing to do with role-playing whatsoever.
Singer. Yeah, I've had stalkers for other things, other reasons, but never because of gaming.
Okay. Now, I think we've already answered this one, but just to clarify, none of us have been pestered online or anything like that by male gamers.
Nope.
I know I haven't been. So it's been kind of nice. Ooh, here's one. What technology choices do we use for online gaming? For me, it's mainly Fantasy Grounds, but I have played with D20, Roll20 and Google Hangout.
Yeah, I've also used Roll20, but I use and prefer Fantasy Grounds.
Mm-hmm.
I've been strictly Fantasy Grounds from day one, so I haven't tried any of the others, but I'm very comfortable here on Fantasy Grounds, so I'll probably just stay here until I die.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, I've
and Tabletop Simulator. Played a few games on that.
I haven't tried Tabletop Simulator yet.
It's more like just virtually sitting around the table. There's no assistance or anything. Like, you just literally have a table in front of you and you move things around on the table. Or roll dice, like you would in a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've run a couple of games on Roll20, like before I even knew Fantasy Grounds existed, and then I've played in a few games on Fantasy Grounds. Currently, I have to use my parents' computer, though, because mine died, tragically.
Okay, we got another question from our chat. Do you think male GMs roleplay female NPCs well? And what could they do better?
Well, I think that's going to depend on the GM we're talking about. Some of them have enough experience, I think, in life to portray women decently well. Some of them I've played with certainly just make women that stereotypical NPC. So it depends who we're talking about.
Yeah, I get some GMs where the female NPCs are very sexualized, or they're very just not quite as smart as they could be.
I've had the experience of them stereotypically female, but I think that's kind of a way to, because they obviously don't have the voice, so they use that stereotype to, I don't know, like maybe to caricaturize the female.
True. Good point.
And I don't know about you, but I'm not a real big fan of the whole rescue the damsel in distress storylines.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems to be a tenet of fantasy, though.
Yeah.
I don't see it a lot in other genres of gaming, like modern, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi. I don't see that as much there.
Okay, another question from chat is, how are we getting the next generation of females into gaming, like the 10 to 12-year-old set?
Well, I know my daughter's currently 5, and she is starting to get interested in it because I have a dice tower and she likes playing with all the dice. So eventually I'm going to start introducing her to some basic concepts of it. So I think you can start them young, but I personally don't have a lot of experience with that specific age bracket and getting them into D&D or role-playing.
For me, my friend has a young daughter, and we get her into playing some RPG video games. Some of the ones that are not M-rated. So, we start there and we tell her about games that we play. And so sometimes we'll play at my friend's house and she'll watch us play and she'll get a little interested. And so we start the conversation about, this is a game system. There's rules. It's a little complicated sometimes, and you use a lot of imagination, like playing dress up or something.
Mm-hmm. For us, we have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, and for our 16-year-old, it started with we would get her brother video games for Christmas, and they were like the Badlands video games and stuff like that, and she really kind of took an interest to them, and then it just moved on. It's just moved on from there. Like now she's into Halo and Assassin's Creed and all the more RP, FPS kind of video games, but she's slowly making her way into the whole RPG thing, and our 12-year-old, she has no interest in it, so we're not going to push it.
Yeah, I think video games are probably one of the easier ways to get kids into the whole role-playing aspect, because they don't always use their imagination to kind of fill in the blanks. So having that visual stimulus or the visual media really kind of helps them progress in that way.
And I try to avoid children.
That's awesome.
How do we what was it? How do we differentiate between
Uh-oh, did I lose him? Nope.
Okay, so how do we differentiate between male and female, what classes and equipment they can take and stuff like that? One of the examples was like GURPS passive defense. The less clothes you wear, the higher your armor class.
That still makes me laugh. The whole chainmail bikini is better than having full plate or something.
I know, right?
To be honest, I don't even think about that. I'm like, okay, I just need armor that's going to cover me and protect me so I don't get hit as often. I don't even think about how it really covers.
Yeah, I don't think about that either. I'm just like, okay, I'm a fighter. That means I can wear plate mail, but if I do that, I'm sacrificing my sneak. But I'm a fighter. I don't freaking need sneak. Let's go with plate mail.
Exactly.
Right, and that's probably one of the places where like 5e and other role-play games kind of even the field, right, between male and female. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. As far as male or female clothing, it's about what armor I chose.
And it's up to me on what that armor looks like. If I want to go with the chainmail bikini, then you know what? I've got a chainmail bikini.
Exactly. And if I want to wear, a helmet with butterfly wings, I will wear a helmet with butterfly wings.
Exactly.
And we will all love that.
Freaking piece of armor yet.
Oh, have you heard about the wolf tails? I chopped off 2 wolf tails. I'm going to add the wolf tails to my boots.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So now
I mean,
boots with the wolf fur.
I mean, I think it also depends on what character we're playing as well. Like Leah doesn't wear armor because being a barbarian, she doesn't need to. She has a whole armored defense thing, but she does have a necklace of ears.
And it also kind of depends on how the DM is. If the DM will allow you to do silly things like that just for kind of, I guess, the flavoring of the game, the flavoring of the campaign, and the flavoring of your character, then yeah, I mean, that's even better.
Yep.
Exactly. Like, it's just, I love it. I'm sorry. I love the fact that we are possibly one of the most, I'm finding that female gamers are maybe a little more creative than some of the male gamers.
And it's a different creativity. I mean, it's like, the things, little things like your necklace of ears and my, helmet with the wings. And we kind of fixate on these small little things that in the large scale of the game and the campaign and the missions and everything, they're not really important, but you know what? It makes our characters more memorable.
It does that. And I'm sorry, I like being able to be creative like that in combat. Like, I'll lean over to Gio. I'll be like, look, dude, I'm gonna flip off the wall and I'm gonna stab that guy in the neck. And he's like, yeah, okay, roll it.
And then when you do, it's epically awesome, and you talk about it for weeks and months to
Exactly.
come.
But I get male. I find that more male characters are, when it comes to combat, are more descriptive like that than female characters are. Where we're more worried about what our armor looks like, for instance. They're more worried about what their action looks like.
Yeah, I think that's true when I'm DMing as well. The male characters prefer more of the description of the action.
Mm-hmm. That's just my thing. Oh Lord, it's been brought up, ladies. What about pregnant characters?
I think if my character got pregnant, she would have to take a sabbatical or something. Maybe the first few months okay for questing, and then mid-months have to step back from the action, and then the last few months, I gotta take a holiday, guys.
Yes, I would like my
I had a pregnant character, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, I don't do pregnant characters.
Yeah, being a mom, pregnant people would retire. So I'm just saying there are no pregnant adventurers.
It's never come
Sorry,
up.
guys.
Never even thought about it.
Yeah,
I guess
sorry.
we're playing the wrong games. We don't have, sex in game or anything, and nobody gets pregnant, and
Right.
Well, we have had a few incidents with slots, and some of us are still waiting for the outcome on that.
Maybe in Vampire the Masquerade, this might come up.
See, now that's awesome. So there you go, guys. Sorry, none of us play pregnant characters.
But speaking of that, Nikara just showed me a PDF of a 3.5 book, which was about basically D&D love and sex.
Yeah, the book of erotic fantasy.
Yes, thank you. And
Oh
there
my
was, like,
God.
And okay, it's a little smutty and stuff, but there's some really interesting tables and charts, and there's like, I never knew that elves would be pregnant for 2 years, which is crazy. That's a long time to be, baby there.
I did not know that either.
Now, here's an interesting fact. That book was made to show that the OGL, which for those who don't know what that is, it's the Open Gaming License, was a bad idea.
Yeah, I can agree, but it had some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, Ryan Dancy is the one who made it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, and he's the one who actually wrote the OGL. So that just makes it even better. Okay, now they have asked us, what is our favorite character?
That we've ever played?
Yep.
Oh, that's hands down my my elven sorceress. Her name's Vermouth Effervescent.
I love that.
Yeah. And of course, people's like Vermouth. I'm like, no, it's the sweet Vermouth. So, personality wise. But yeah, she's the one that has the courtesan background profession.
Ah, how about you, our newcomer rogue? Rogue, are you here?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, what about you? What's your favorite character?
My favorite character had to have been a female wizard that I was running when I first started playing AD&D 2nd Edition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, mine, hands down, it's a toss-up. It's either Blinks, who is a Goblin Ranger, or Leah, who is the half-elf barbarian. That's a tough one to choose between.
It is tough, Susie. I really do like Sava, who's a Goblin Ranger.
Exactly.
But I think my favorite is Serafina. Tea Leaf, she was a halfling ranger, and she had like the most backstory. She was my most developed character. And then my GM deserted us about the time we played, we got to 3rd level. So I never felt like she grew past, but she's probably my favorite character.
Heresy.
My favorite was I played. It was a little girl, maybe 8 to 9 years old, a wizard, and she was dysfunctional. She had a little doll. She couldn't speak to anyone directly. She spoke through the doll. She would hold the doll up to them, and she would mouth the words for the doll, but the doll would speak to them.
That is such a cool idea.
It really is. I have to use
I
that.
think probably my favorite that I've played was my smuggler in the Star Wars campaign. She was kind of inspired off of Han Solo, so she had that, that charm, but she also very inhabitantly knew she was a Twi'lek, so she used that sex appeal against stormtroopers and other people she needed to influence. And she broke her ankle a couple of times, so the GM was nice and gave me some repulsor boots so I could actually float around and not have to do climb checks anymore.
That's awesome.
All right. They want to know what our favorite setting is.
I'm kind of torn between Forgotten Realms 3.5 edition and the new Pathfinder.
Ooh.
Mine would be, one would be the new Starfinder, which I'm playing right now, having fun with that. And 50 Fathoms, that's Savage Worlds pirate setting.
Ooh.
I honestly can't pick because I've played from things like Legends of the Five Rings to Numenera, Pathfinder, and then 5e. So I can't pick a favorite, but I like playing them all because it's all different aspects between like the cultures and the religions and of course the politics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also partial to the Forgotten Realms, but I am really, really digging Jeff's Wraithborn area as well.
Wraithborn, I believe, is set in. Yeah, it's actually set in Wraithborn. I keep thinking that it's set in Ravenloft, but I guess not. Sorry, guys. I have to agree with some of you. The new Pathfinder is like, I'm just awed by it, and I'm not so. I'm torn between 3.5 and 5th edition. I could go either way on that one. Now, they want to know, how do we make a female character without falling into the stereotypical tropes?
That's easy for me. I'm a tomboy, so I always play my females like I would a male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of us kind of do that. I don't like, when I'm making my characters, I'm taking a little bit from everything.
Yeah,
But I also think,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it also comes back to the fact that I'm going to play the character as the character should be, or how the character is to me. So I have in Legends of the Five Ring, I have a Surichi archer, and she is kind of, quiet and standoffish, not very girly, not interested in dating or finding a husband. She's interested in being a warrior and to get her father's approval. So, she doesn't care about makeup and all the fancy. She just wants to make sure she's a good archer for her family's honor.
Yeah.
My characters usually hit a lot of other tropes, but sometimes I deliberately do hit some of the female stereotypical tropes.
Yeah, and I was kind of going down that same path. I'm not building a female. I'm building a character that I want to play. So whatever character background or personality I'm developing, that's the way I play it. I don't necessarily make them that personality female or male just because it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's not going to matter if this character is male or female. It's going to be played the exact same way either way I go about it.
And I've played the male character before. It was a boy, though.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna just drop some knowledge here for a minute. Over the last 10 years, women have taken up between 30 and 40% of the gaming society. That include now keep in mind this is including video games, RPGs, stuff like that. So it's all gaming included. Currently, out of that 30 to 40%, another 30-40% of that is strictly tabletop or RPG gamers, which is better than it was 20 years ago when we were literally 3 to 5%. So we're gaining ground very, very quickly.
And I think that the gaming community has actually changed, because when I started playing in 1988 or 1986, I started DMing in 1988. But when I joined my very first group, it was the typical, oh, you're the female player, so your character can be my concubine type thing. And nowadays, it's a lot more accepting and a lot more equal.
Okay, so Rogue, since you've been playing, I can honestly say that you've been playing the longest out of almost I think everybody here. You started playing in '86. How many female gamers did you see then?
Absolutely none.
Now, fast forward almost 30 years. How many are you seeing nowadays?
I am seeing in the games that I am either playing in or running, I am seeing at least one female, probably 50 to 60% of the time.
Okay, so you've literally been able to watch the evolution of female gamers for the last couple of decades.
Yeah, I have, and it's been really fun. I mean, it's been really nice seeing other female players, come in and try the game and not get discouraged when the guys say, oh, you can be this, you can be that. And it's like, no, just let me be my own person. And it's women standing up for themselves like that makes it to where other women can feel welcome in the game without being pressured into what the guys used to want. But the guys are also getting better about not being that way.
Okay, I can agree with that. Do any of us play male characters right now?
Not currently, but I did play one before.
I'm kind of banned from playing male characters. It's yeah.
Well, actually, my GM banned that too. He didn't want players playing cross-gender. But that was just his thing. So actually, my character was actually female, but pretending to be a young teenage boy. The whole duct tape around the chest and everything, but I played a male character. That was the way I had to do it.
No, I had a male dwarf that would pick maggots out of his armpit and eat them, and that's where I got banned. Right there. They're like, nope, no more.
Yeah, I don't right now have any cross-gender characters, but I know I was running a game where all of the guys played female characters and all of the girls played male characters, and I sure learned a lot about stereotypes watching them play.
Yeah, I've been in games where guys played the female characters alongside mine.
Okay, how about tips for like how making player backgrounds and personalities that are not gender specific?
Yeah, I saw that question, and I already had something in mind. But for me, what I always do, usually don't even, regardless of the system, I don't really look at the mechanics of it yet. I really formulate in my mind what the character is going to be like, and go from there. Then I try to use the system to create as close to that character that I wanted. But something that I always do and I find really fun is you really want to give your character a weakness, and usually a significant one, because that really plays out. I mean, if you're into roleplay, or if you like things that kind of happen in game that make things interesting or adds a little drama to it, is always to have some type of weakness. Add that into your character. For example, I did play a druid, but my druid was a feral and would not wear any armor or no clothing, to be specific. But
Nice.
she did wear enough clothing when going into cities and such, because everyone had a lot of problems with that. But that was my weakness. It was not to wear any armor.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. That's a really good idea. Now, my ladies, how do you deal with accurate sexist cultures in historical campaigns? I don't think I really play any of the historical campaigns. So, I mean, sexism really isn't a thing. My characters, even if they run into it, they just kind of ignore it. They're like, yeah, whatever.
For me, because I played Legend of the Five Rings, and that's that feudal kind of Japan setting.
Mhm.
So playing as the female archer, I did have to deal with that. Not so much, obviously not from the guys, but because of the setting. So, I had to mind my P's and Q's, so to speak, when the guy, and of course there was always a guy there, another guy character to kind of talk, but yet I would always show my merit on the battlefild. And so once I show my merit on the battlefield, I get some respect from the guys, and the environment does kind of lighten up around me. So it's just kind of navigating through that, kind of playing the role and not so much being offended by it.
Yeah, the current Star Wars campaign that I'm a part of, I play as Zeltron, which is the pink-skinned aliens that are known for their sexuality, and we are currently on an Empire-controlled planet asteroid thing, and so there's a lot of not just sexism towards her because she's a barmaid and she's just eye candy or whatever, but it's also has the whole racism thing too, because the Empire is very anti non-humans. So we've had a couple of incidences where that's come into play. Not a whole lot, but it's just something that really makes you think of how would my character react if they're just called eye candy or whatever.
Do any of you use your gender to get your way in a game?
I don't ever recall doing that.
I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, because I have done it in the past, but it's something I really try to avoid.
With the people I play with, it doesn't really become an issue, but my character will my sorceress character I mentioned before, she will use her gender for things. You could probably call her a gold digger.
Yeah, I have characters that will do that, but I personally probably have never done that I'm aware of.
I've played with females. They're the girlfriend gamers, and they've kind of if they don't get their way in game, they really make their boyfriend's life a living hell because they didn't get their way. I've run into those.
I try to stay away from that. I
Yep.
do have a group where there is a husband and wife combo, and even the other guys, when they're away, he's like, they're not exactly happiest to play with her in the group because she does kind of get like that, and especially like with her characters. If you kill her character, it's not a happy setting. So it's one of those things like, you can't be so sensitive about these things if you're going to be playing with these guys, because characters do die and you have to re-roll one, and that's part of gaming in general.
I do generally play highly charismatic characters, but they usually end up getting their way, or being the leader of the group anyway. But I wouldn't say that it had anything to do with the gender.
Yeah,
How
I
about-
also try to avoid that in gaming. I'm trying to play as a person, and I want to be treated as a person, not as a female. So I try to avoid it.
Now, have you ever had any advantages because you're female? That I can say I have. There was a guy we were gaming with. I milked him for everything he was freaking worth. He let me play a succubus. He gave me kick-ass armor. I got the best weapons, and I got stat advantages. And I took it because he was more than willing to give me anything I wanted.
Is that your dark side there showing?
It is a little bit, but I really, nice guy, hit on me constantly, and of course in front of Geo, and I was just like, you know what? And I spoke with him about it. I'm like, is it going to be bad of me if I just show this guy that he can't be like that? And Geo was just like, all right, go see how much you can get from this guy. It got to the point where I was like 3rd level and was wearing like +5 plate mail. I was like, how the hell did that happen?
I wish I had fun stories like that, but I don't. Like I said, the guys I play with, they think of like, oh, it's, Fury, she's one of the guys, or it's like, my sister. I don't get that special treatment anymore.
Yeah, like I said.
Yep.
I can't recall any time where I've ever gotten that kind of special treatment.
Yep, me either.
I've gotten to choose which night do we play. That's about it, I think.
Yep. All right. Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of my ladies for coming. It has been a wonderful and awesome afternoon. Hold on here. I definitely want to give a shout out to GeoQuester Gaming. Geo, the host for GeoQuester Gaming and the owner of GeoQuester Gaming, was kind enough to mod one of our chats today. I want to give another shout out to Zelikar and Rob Tui, who are both streaming this and were kind enough to mod the chat today. I also want to give a shout out to Savage Maidens and all of the women gamers. And I also want to give a shout out to FGC, who was kind enough to put this all together with Leyrun, and especially Leyrun, who this is his baby. He came to me with the idea, and I thought this was just a fantastic idea. So I have to definitely say thank you. And to the rest of the FGC crew, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. And ladies, is there anything you want to add?
If there's any ladies out there listening and you're thinking about getting into the game, go for it. There are only a few bad guys out there that'll try to take advantage, but from my experience lately, there have actually been people looking for females in games. So go ahead, jump in there, have a blast, be yourself, and the most important thing, have fun.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely have fun. Don't be afraid of trying something new, whether it's a class, character, or even a gender. And, remember, this is make-believe and fantasy, so you get to live that second life you wanted.
Yep, and ladies, I encourage you to come out and join the game. There
Exactly.
are a lot of
now,
safe
for all of us
gamers out
here
here.
at GeoQuester Gaming and Fantasy Grounds College, if you want to chat after the show, by all means, join our Discord servers. If you need the Fantasy Grounds College Discord server, just go to fantasygrounds.org, I think.
Net.
Or .net.
Fantasygroundscollege.net.
Okay, there you go. fantasygroundscollege.net, and come and join our Discord. You might find something you like. All right. Have a great afternoon, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of my lovelies, you know what I say. Mwah.
Good
See you
night, guys.